2021 Annual Conference of the Finance Correspondents Association of Nigeria, which is expected to hold later this week, precisely from Saturday, Sunday this week, is expected to focus on the theme financing infrastructure and SMEs for inclusive growth in post-COVID-19 economy. Well, the theme for this conference is coming at no better time than now, especially as the country grapples with crawling out of economic damage caused by the advent of COVID-19 pandemic. Well, there is no gainsaying that infrastructure is critical to Nigeria's sustainability or sustainable economic growth, as it is the pivot on which the wheel of economic activities rotate. But these sectors has been crippled as a result of low financing, in which ripple effects may, ripple effects many sectors have to deal with. On the other hand, financing the SME sector is also a challenge, thereby highlighting the fact that almost every sector of the Nigerian economy is in dire need of adequate infrastructure. Well, let's analyze the impact of the summit, of course, on driving economic growth in post-COVID-19 times. So joining me to discuss this is no other person but the National Chairman of the Finance Correspondents Association of Nigeria, Mr. Chima Nwokoji. Good afternoon, Charles. Good to see you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, let's start this way. 30 years, FICAN, I see it as really very strong. Can you tell us how it's been all the while?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's not easy. FICAN has weathered many storms. But I want to start from the beginning. In the 80s, you remember during Babangida's administration, the structural adjustment program, when it came on board, it turned around business reporting in Nigeria. And so the players in the media sector that time thought it wise to go back to the drawing board and then establish an association that will provide a training ground for journalists. You know, that those days, the World Bank came with a lot of nomenclature, a lot of words that were alien to some people here. And so that training became very, very important. So they aligned with the then director in the Central Bank of Nigeria to establish FICAN. So all these years, they have really done a lot in financial reporting. But by and large, what has sustained us has been good leadership. I must give it to our past presidents. Another thing that has also sustained FICAN is discipline. You see, where there is no discipline, things go haywire. So the people that led FICAN all these years till now have really done a lot. But one thing I must also point out is the method of bringing in new executive of FICAN. The new executive come through excellent democratic process. And so it has enabled us to select good leaders that has the interest of FICAN at heart. And so all these years, we've also had some institutions, financial institutions, supporting FICAN. And so it's not easy. And you know, when you support somebody today, tomorrow you come back, the person will say, Oliver Twist, what's the problem? But I want to give it to our supporters, the financial institutions. They've done a lot. So all these things, in summary, discipline, good leadership, you know, has helped FICAN all these 30 years.
Very key, discipline and good leadership. Now, the theme is something that is really very topical if we look at it, financing infrastructure and SMEs for inclusive growth in post-COVID-19 era. You know, we as journalists, we've covered a lot around COVID-19, post-COVID-19, but this our theme seems to be very unique.
Sure. Yeah, it's unique because we are coming in from, you know, a year where everything was shut down. In fact, to the level that we never imagined. And so coming out from that year, you have to do a lot of things different. You talk about the new normal. The new normal means you do things the way that you have not been doing it before. So we have to look at the team and then incorporate it with the new normal. And then, so we are talking about economic recovery. We are recovering from a lot of things, from recession, we are recovering from COVID-19, lockdown and everything. So we cannot have such a conference without touching the key things that will help recovery, the key things that will also move the economy forward. You know, so that's basically why we coined that unique team for the conference. And we have sub-teams. We have aligning the fiscal and monetary authorities for sustainable growth. We also have a team that is weaved around health sector. We have a team that is weaved around SMEs. You know the important role SMEs play in the economy. So we are mindful of all this when we came up with this particular team.
Staying with the theme, I'm looking at us now as journalists. Before I go there, let me look at also our partners, because I see the likes of the Central Bank, the likes of the NDIC, the likes of, all of them are just coming in. It shows to me that's a little bit of more credibility for FICAN.
Of course, like I mentioned earlier, we couldn't have got this far without the support of our financiers, the Central Bank, that's an endorsement that we don't take for granted. We have the NDIC. We have even more recently the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority. Yeah, we have the banks, a lot of them. How many will I mention? Will I mention Heritage Bank? Will I mention the Eco Bank, the UBS? Okay, sorry. So a lot of them. But we don't take their support for granted. We also go out of the banking sector. We also have some supporters. So I think that for us gives us serious credibility. Okay, so basically that's that. Okay,
now let's move on now for our job. We do this every day. We are the finance people. We do the finance journalism, or we do the write-ups, and we do the broadcast aspect of it. Our economy is challenged, and we know, and that's why we're even saying this theme is apt at this time. What do you think we can also do to support? Because sometimes they say what we write and what we push out is what investors look at, and that's what they take actions on.
Sure. So for us as journalists, first of all, we should be looking at development journalism. We should also be looking at solution journalism, where we not only dwell on the problems but on the solutions. Okay, and so focusing also on corruption, okay, has a way of limiting it. By the time you beam searchlight on corruption, it promotes accountability. It limits people from doing all those shady deals. And so as journalists, we cannot rest on our oars. We continue to hold public office holders accountable, and then we cannot look away from the fact that some of these things are figures. We have a way of interpreting them and making them more understandable to the average Nigerian. You see, so that's why the role of FICAN is also important. We focus on capacity building, training and retraining of journalists. So on our own part, we must continue to hold leaders accountable. We must continue to throw up those opportunities that are there for investors to look into. We must continue to throw up those areas that need government attention. The infrastructure gap is there. We have to question players so that they be able to know the areas to come in, how to source for finance, which areas that are challenged to be able to go into. That's basically the role of journalists.
Now let's move on now with this discussion. Now I'm also looking at staying with the challenges that we face as an economy. As a professional in this job, do you think that small businesses, SMEs, MSMEs, are they getting enough support that they really need to get? Are they getting that from government? Before you answer that question, let's take this break, and when we come back, we'll continue the discussion. All right, thank you for staying tuned. We continue the discussion ahead of FICAN Conference 2021, and the national chairman is here talking extensively about the theme and everything that has to do with this forthcoming event. Mr. Nwokoji, let's continue our discussion and talking about as professionals. I was saying that do you think that these small businesses, MSMEs, and all of these that we are very particular about, because of course they are the engine room of any economy, Do you think they are getting enough support? We know that CBN is doing a lot. We report these things and we know we've had proofs. But do you think they're getting enough support from both the fiscal and the monetary side? Because they need to synergize so that we can get this inclusive growth that we talk about.
Yeah, basically, we know about double taxation. And so, from the fiscal side, we know that the SMC has been complaining all these years. Just of recent that the 2020 Finance Act, paid a little attention on them, and they said anyone that is not earning up to 25 million per annum UK should be exempted from VAT. So, basically, they have not really been finding it easy on the fiscal side. You talk about a lot of things. They need power. They need good road. They need funding. Okay, funding comes in from the monetary side. All these years, we've been hearing about the problem of the SMEs. They are talking about capital. No money, no money. See, and also beyond no money, there's also the aspect of training. But your question centered around whether they are getting enough from the fiscal side and the monetary side. I think that there is need for that synergy between the monetary and fiscal side of the economy, so that these areas that are job creating, these areas that have the potential of catalyzing the economy will be catered for. So, on my own judgment, they have not got enough. SMEs need more attention. And that's why in this conference we're bringing people that play in the financial sector. We're bringing that fiscal area. We're bringing the Ministry of Finance. They want to hear from them, from the budgetary aspect. What have you kept aside for the SME sector? We want to bring the CBN, want to bring also the FMDQs, want to bring the capital market. You look at the SEC, SEC will talk to us from the capital market angle. They want them to tell us how possible it is for the SMEs to go to the capital market and access funds. We want to also talk to FMDQ. Want to ask them how has it been easy for them to structure transactions for all these players in the financial sector. We are bringing banks to know the ones that are doing very well in the SME sector. So every day we hear about high interest rate. An SME that doesn't have enough money to run, he spends most of the money buying fuel. You don't expect that SME to live beyond 5 years. So we are bringing all these players together, SEC, CBN, the NDIC, we are bringing FMDQ, we are bringing all of them together. From the fiscal side also, I've mentioned the Ministry of Finance. So by the time they come together, they will come up with views. We could fertilize ideas and then harvest those ideas and find how these ideas will cascade into helping the SME sector. That's basically that.
Okay, almost finally now, as we move to, we're already in the third quarter, I guess, or by October, I guess, October, November, December, yes. And there are a lot of projections. The recent one is 3% growth rate. Some say it's 2.5%. We've been having different projections. But in your thoughts and with what you've seen, we're on the field and we know some of these things. What are your projections? Don't forget, third wave of COVID is also threatening one way or the other.
Sure. One army general from the US said that hope is not a method. Okay, so I would not tell you that we are hopeful, but I want to tell you that from the cheery number we got from the National Bureau of Statistics, which says that we grew by 5%. We are hopeful that growth will be sustained. Okay, so the increase in vaccination across the world and even in Nigeria, I hear some of my friends has joined me. We've taken the vaccination. So we hope, yes, we've been inoculated. So we hope that more inoculation, okay, will help restore confidence in the economy. People will be able to go back to their business activities, And so when activities are rejuvenated, we hope that the economy will begin to grow more. So basically, I look at, I want to be hopeful this time, 6% growth.
Wow.
Yeah, in the second quarter. And I also hope that economic activities will pick up.
Honestly.
And I want producers also to go back to their production site. When they go back to production site, jobs will be created. Yes. Okay, and so I will also go back to the theme of our conference, which says infrastructure. If engineers return back to site, they will employ people and their jobs will be created. And so we've had the president when he said that he will create 10 million jobs. And so we're looking for those factories that will absorb those 10 million, that will absorb those people. We want to see Nigeria turn to a construction site where everywhere you go, you see work is going on. Let us look at financing, okay? We look at tax credit. Look at what the Dangote does at the Lagos-Apapa Expressway. We want more companies to come in so that construction will start everywhere and jobs will be created. When we have that, I assure you that the economy will grow by 6% in the next quarter.
So we'll see live 25th to 26th. That's Saturday, Sunday this week.
Sure.
Live in Lagos.
Yes, you have to come.
Yes,
because
of course.
we're bringing experts together, and we will cross-fertilize ideas and we will harvest ideas. Thank you.
You've heard it from him himself. That's the chairman, national chairman, indeed, of the Finance Correspondents Association of Nigeria. He's also a senior correspondent at Nigerian Tribune newspapers, a colleague. And thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming, at least to drop by on the show and talk more about our conference.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.